you're going to be going on a 2-month hiatus. Now, first, I would assume that you'd probably be getting ready for that tonight, as opposed to a call right here. So, what's the plan for that exactly?
Just taking 2 months off and streaming on YouTube and uploading videos, pretty much.
A 2-month off from streaming?
From streaming, uploading, social media, just kind of taking a break to get my head clear. To, when you get creator's block, every now and then it's good to just get away from YouTube or whatever it is you're doing. You kind of, take time off, clear your head, think about what you want to do when you get back, that kind of thing. If I did YouTube nonstop, it would be unhealthy after a point.
Well, I mean, if you're making money off of it, then I don't think anyone would say that it's unhealthy.
Well, I'm not at the moment, so yeah, it's...
Okay, sorry, let me get to the real questions.
No worries.
Okay, so you've made the claim that Winter talks, walks, blinks, farts, and eats, as well as there being EVPs of her talking. Would you be willing to play some of those for us?
They're actually up on my channel now. I don't have that in front of me at the moment, though, but they are on my channel. Just type in Winter.
Didn't you privatize all of your videos?
No, there's a bunch of them. Actually, I took down my videos because they were getting flagged by a bunch of trolls. Some people are pretty pissed at me about calling out certain people. I don't understand why when the people I'm calling out originally were pedophiles, you know what I mean? But,
Tibbz, are you getting this on the Winter channel, on the channel you made specifically for her?
No, this is all Tibbz TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I have to put them all back up slowly because I need to go through them all, make sure there's something that can be flaggable. There's a bunch of videos where I was doing panels with people like Cinemas and Marks, and I got to download those and actually edit out the slurs that people were using, and also make some other small adjustments. That way there's nothing that could be considered against YouTube's term service, nothing might be considered flaggable hate speech. I panel with a lot of people. There's also other things that were going on at one point. I have to try and protect my content concerning the flaggings because, I want people to know all the videos that are out there, see it all for what it was. And then it's going to take a bit because we're talking like 3,000 videos for some of the, 3,000 streams technically. So, yeah.
Have you thought about sending maybe some of those clips to, say, Nuke's Top 5 Ghost Car on Camera? I think that would pretty much clear up any confusion about it.
I could. I just gotta go figure out where those are at. There's at least a few of them I know. They're just all videos that were at one point flaggable. So, and I also don't have all of them listed. Like some of the older on-camera streams are just ... like 3 periods in a row. I did that at one point because I was just trying to make it simple for myself, and then I realized later on I kind of fucked up because I actually made it way more complicated. But yeah, I'll go find those and at some point fix that. But the EVP video is still up though, because that one wasn't suffering from that issue.
Okay. Have you ever thought about, say, while you're asleep, streaming Winter so that way, that would be as simple as she moves, people see it like live?
I actually have thought about that. I never got around to doing it, but once I'm in my place officially, I might actually be open to doing that just to see, what that might look like.
Okay. Well, that's it for that question, I'd say. Now,
All right.
You said... Oh, sorry, let me get to this one. When you turned into Johnny Varys in the Mastrol Mafia stream, you had to put on a mask, a bandana, fingerless gloves, a skeleton shirt, as well as a dress shirt. Is that required for you to change into one of your alts? Or is that required for you to change into one of your alts? Or is it just with some of them? And if it's just with some of them, why don't you just throw those away and get rid of them?
You mean the alts?
No, I mean the costumes.
Oh, it's not required
Because
for
you stood
any
up
of them.
for like 5 minutes, putting on a mask, the dress shirt, like I said.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no requirement at all for that. The altars, if that's what they are, they have their own possessions and belongings. Each one has things that they consider their own. That one you were seeing on stream, that was Jack Donovan.
But he said he was Johnny Varys in the stream.
Well, I'm not really sure why it was Donovan to control that day.
Okay, so they all have their possessions. I know that you've been kicked out of places before without access to keeping any of the things. If that's the case, whose stuff is the most important?
Depends on what's actually being left behind.
Well, just give me like the ranking, because you said there are 72 in there. Now, is that 72 with or without Varys?
With Varys does count.
Okay, and so I'll assume it's 73 with you included as well?
No, I am one of the 72.
Okay. Alright. So, Cyrax messaged Zach Hussein's brother when he was 10 years old, sending him racist comments left on the news report YouTube video. Do you think that that's appropriate? And if not, will you disavow Cyrax?
Okay, so let me get this straight. He sent... I think that we can keep it simple. So he sent racist comments to a 10-year-old. That's not okay at all. And he has actually talked about a lot of things they fucked up on. I think accountability is very important. I'm not going to disavow him only because right now, well, I guess it's the way to put it is I'm not really there for him. He's not the goal when I'm sitting there talking to him. I think he does go a little bit too far. Like when I tell him, for example, you cannot be making streams responding to trolls. If you want to remove the troll problem from your life, the first thing you got to do is stop doing that. And I actually came unglued on him not too long ago with the whole Gordon stream because that was like the third time I told him and it was starting to piss me off. If you really
Cyrus did it again today.
What?
Cyrus did it again today. It was like an hour and 16-minute stream.
Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm being dead serious.
That's gonna piss me off then because I told him like, and I'm gonna have to go talk to him probably tomorrow when I'm feeling better. But like, if I'm gonna keep, actually I'm gonna text him regardless because that does piss me off. If I'm gonna keep helping him, you know, this is what I told him. I'm cool with, you know, helping you. If you admit to me what your faults were, I'm okay with helping me. It actually improves your life for the better. But if you keep not like going against what I tell you, I can't help you. And then I'm basically do what I did with Empress Mega VR. I'm gonna throw your ass out regardless if you're innocent or not, what they claim. Because I'm not gonna sit here and have you fuck up, you know, my credibility because you want to just go gung ho. Like I don't help people because, you know, like I don't cover for clout chasers and scumbags. I help people that have genuinely want to get better, you know, with these online problems. If you're going to keep going on there and streaming about in real life drama troll bullshit, because that's what it is to me at this point, it's a waste of my time. I'd rather go back and play my video games. That right there might be a disavowalment kind of thing, because then it's like, why am I helping you? You know, if you want the trolls gone and you're not going to listen to what I'm telling you to do that, what's the point? You know?
Okay, that actually leads me to part 2 for this question. Now, at the same time as Cyrax sending Zach Hussein's brother those comments, he actually also sent his brother, he sent him his online store. Now, this was a grieving 10-year-old that Cyrax was sending, asking him to purchase t-shirts. Would you disavow that?
Yeah, I would, because you should not be having your merch to a 10-year-old. If it was like, if it was someone who's like, someone with a job, so I guess the earliest age would be like 16 maybe it'd be different. Considering the accusations he's had against him by trolls in the past, even that wouldn't be great. But a 10-year-old, like a grieving 10-year-old's even worse, mind you. It's like, he's admitted to doing some stupid shit. This one's new to me, like this grieving 10-year-old merch thing. That ain't right. Sure, it's not sexually predatory, but at the same time, it also is considered, and I'm going to say it, it is considered predatory in a way because you're trying to get money out of a 10-year-old when they're going through a grieving process. And that's in its own way scummy. You know what I mean?
I'm glad that we got that out of the way. Now, the next one I have, now this one, Cyrax, when he was 25, he messaged Camtime Racing. Do you know who that is?
I actually have no idea.
Okay, so Camtime Racing has been friend loosely. So Camtime Racing was somewhere between 13 and 15 on the school bus, and the first time he spoke with Cyrax had FaceTimed him on Facebook while he was on the school bus. Cyrax was 25 to 27 at the time, talking about how good of a racer Camtime was.
Okay.
How appropriate would you say that is?
FaceTiming a minor, very odd. Like, that is odd behavior. I'd say it's inappropriate.
Okay, good. Now, this is going to be a bit further than the last few questions I've asked you. Now, you've said before that pedophiles should be killed. Cyrus's
Yeah.
jail went to, Cyrus's father Rupel went to jail for raping a 14-year-old in 1994. He went there for 20 years. The evidence was against him. Do you still stand by that statement?
Yes, 100%. I think that all pedos should be shot in the face. I think it's important to confirm their guilt 100%. And once you know they're guilty, you blow their fucking brains out. Unless it's illegal to do so, then you wait till a point where you can and then blow their brains out. I have no mercy for those scumbags at all.
Okay, good. And Cyrax has gone on record defending his father, saying that that's not what really happened. It happened. Now, what would you say about that?
That would piss me off, considering he told me a completely different story. I don't like being lied to. Like I said, I'm sticking my neck out for this guy to help him if he actually is saying the truth. If Kate lied about these messages and some of these things, if he was manipulated, hey, I want to get to the bottom of that. And I still am digging at this point.
If I may butt in with a question here, why did you do so little research before letting me contact Cyrax for you and you jumping on that? You said you're still digging. Why did you not do the research beforehand? I even told you that he was scum and a piece of shit.
Well, I was also at war with Rank Material, who are very scummy people themselves, and I'm only one person. And because I had to try and pick my battles and I wasn't really focused, or I hadn't known Cyrax in any capacity, and he wasn't a priority at the time, I hadn't the time to research.
Well, I mean,
thank you.
If I could just say one thing, Tibbz, you're attaching yourself to Cyrax. There's no shortage of information on him. Like, he's got a Kiwi Farms page. He's got at least 20 documentaries.
Well, what happened at the time was I was reaching out to Cyrax when Spookies finally got us into contact. And I was interviewing him, and I also wanted to reach out to the trolls and see what they had to say. And the first thing they started doing was threatening to kill me and make my life a living hell, and the doxings began. I didn't have enough time to even interview any of them before all that happened, and I'm like, why the hell are they treating me with such hostility and violence simply for wanting to know both sides of the story, including theirs? After a point, it became very difficult to try and, again, I'm one guy, I can only juggle so much. You know, I had to juggle my real life. I also had to try and figure out how to deal with the doxings that are happening nonstop. And then I had to try and figure out all the details. I figure, at this point, start with Cyrax, get all the details from him. I mean, I have access to most of his stuff now, and I can actually locate most of the shit in his email. I can look at his channel and monitor that, but I'm also trying to figure out all the other details around it. There are so many fucking videos about this guy, and he's got some stories that do check out. But then there are also stories that I have a lot of questions about. Like, I would love to know what happened, like what really happened with Blind Billy. Like, I'm hearing a plethora of things, but one of the most common I'm hearing is that they're both about the same age. Apparently it was
Cyrax was older than Blind Billy.
Do we know, like, do you know how much older? Because that's significant depending on the age. Like, if it was like a year or two, that's not really a big difference. If it's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Now, that question I can't answer. I don't know, unfortunately.
I do know. Actually, I finally looked into Blind Billy. It was a real person. Cyrax was 18 at the time, still in school. Blind Billy was 16. Yeah, there isn't much of a difference of age, but 16 compared to 18, that's still a minor with an adult. Cyrax went to his house one night, molested him, did some shit in the bathroom too at school, and got kicked out of school for that. Never graduated. That's a true and honest story that has been confirmed. It's even been on a lot of Musical Business Martin streams where they confronted each other about it, and it didn't seem like bullshit to me. It checks out in my book.
And if I could just ask one question for something you just mentioned there, Tibbz. So you said you had trouble looking into all of Cyrax's stuff while also juggling with your real life. Now, I think you could agree with me that, like, you don't have a 9 to 5, you probably don't have a set sleep schedule. So what was keeping you from, like, looking this up?
Well, you have to remember, a lot of these videos are very long. And also, I'm dealing with a lot of things in real life. The attacks on my home, etc., they're more important things all the time.
Now, are you talking about the motel when you say your home, or are you talking about this mansion?
I'm talking about the motel. The mansion doesn't happen. Not for at least for a bit. We're looking 6 to 8 weeks on that. Nothing happens overnight, unfortunately.
Okay, now, actually, something else I'd like to ask you. So, I don't think it's a secret you're hurting for cash. You do blood plasma for a bit of extra dough. So, I've seen that you hung these masks on the wall. Like, have you thought about the damage deposit you're going to have to pay as you leave?
Oh, I actually had permission for that.
Really? What did they say exactly?
Well, it's a month-to-month motel, and the idea was that if you ask permission, that they're cool with it. So it's like, okay, well, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do. Hooks in the wall are, like everybody in these rooms month-to-month does hooks. So it's like, that one's fine. You just can't go and like add new walls, or you can't go like chopping into walls and shit. There's limits to what you can do.
So there's not going to be any ripped out drywall this time?
No.
Okay, if you don't mind me asking, Tibbz, so I saw those pictures of your place, and don't get me wrong, I've had a messy room before. I've gone a couple days without doing the dishes, but those rooms were disastrous. Like, you had a door ripped off the walls. It looks like you were gnawing on it.
No, that house was belonging to a really low-end scummy family. And after I was locked up in a hospital, they decided to do all that. All the boxes stacked up was when they took all my shit from storage and just shoved it in there. Also, they had their house condemned for what they were like. And that's why the boxes were all in the room, because they couldn't touch my stuff legally. Then the hole in the wall where it said rip their wings off, that's because a guy decided to be stupid and got shoved through the wall. Then there was the door was because the animals in the house, they lost all their animals, by the way, which is actually for the best. Yeah, that entire house was a complete degenerate cesspool, and I'm glad it's gone. I was the only one paying the bills. I was the only one trying to clean. After a while, I just stopped trying with the downstairs because they're all so, I guess, sloppy is the word to put it. Like, they just throw their food everywhere. It was like you may have heard the stories about Kate Peters' life. The family was exactly like that. Throwing their food all over the house, never cleaning up. They didn't know what a trash can was, apparently. They wouldn't wash dishes. I mean, one person, again, can only do so much. And that was actually probably the best way I even left them in the first place. I should never went back.
Why would you go back? I mean, this was, I'm going to assume, before 2020, where places were a lot cheaper, easier to find one. I
didn't have any money, and I was trying to go from California because a lot of the traumatic experiences I was going through, mostly involving me being sexually assaulted, which I don't want to go into detail on that. But when I came here, the deal was with this family that I helped them fix up their house after the flood. There was a flood in 2020. And if I come out here and help them, then they'd help me figure out, how to get started. As I was ignorant on how to do that because of the life I was being forced to live in California. So when I came out here, I helped them, and they were slobs, like of the worst kind I've ever seen. Like, the father was a hardcore gambling addict. There was a lot of drugs and alcohol in the house. The only thing I ever really did was smoking marijuana. I drank rum one time, and it wasn't for me because it made me a depressed asshole. But some of the shit that they did was horrible. And then, they'd throw this shit all over the place. And so I moved there, and when I left for the first time, I was trying to finally get my place, But then they're telling me, hey, we're suffering here. And I try to be a good person. I try to help people that have had my back. And because they got me out of California, I don't know. I mean, I guess in a way I felt like I owed them a little bit of help because of how much they helped me get away from that horrible place. And so I went back and I was paying their bills, and when I gave them the $500 each month, turns out they're buying cocaine and never paid the electric bill, which is why that whole power outage thing happened. I was obviously very upset, and when that day came where the guy was bashing my face on the cell phone, I just told him straight up, yep, this people, you should see inside their house, man. And because of me, they don't have their home no more. I mean, they threw me out and cost me mine, so fair both ways. I'm glad that you mentioned about you smoking weed, so I don't care if people smoke it or not, but you know that young men are at highest risk of schizophrenia if they smoke pot at a young age. When did you start? Probably 2020. I was 32 years old. It's mostly off and on. It's brief, if at all, maybe once a week at most. That's if I have it. I don't like wasting my money on weed. I'll smoke if other people have it, but I'm not really around people a lot these days. Nor have I been a lot, in the past. When I was living there between October 22 and July of 23, I think. Yeah, I'd smoke on more occasion than that. But most of the time I don't smoke that much because it's just not something I like. Like, I gotta ask you, do you think that you have schizophrenia? Because most people don't hear voices, they don't have all these personalities in their head, they don't rip drywall out of the wall and write down, what was it, rip their wings off? Do I have that right? Yes.
They don't go online talking about ramming people with machetes.
Well, the woman that was talking about ramming the machete into was a rapist, and she died like maybe that same year. And to be fair, rapists and pedophiles are in the same boat. So I don't feel bad about that one. As for the hearing voices, I don't hear voices. They're altered.
That's not true with Winter, because she's not one of your alters, and you definitely said that you've heard her.
Well, other people have heard her too. I guess that's the difference. As for the rest of them, it's considered a version of split personality disorder. They just don't know what it is. And they've said it's not an unhealthy thing considering what it does for me, but at the same time, it does put people in a position of like, you know, like they're not really used to that.
All right, now my next question. So it's no secret that you've struck channels. You've said your alters have also done it. Like, how many YouTube accounts do you and these alters have to get all these reports on people? Because I remember when we were in Discord, that call, you told Southern that you didn't do it, Elias did, and then Mark said that that's one of your alters.
Marks has been notorious for slander. In fact, I have videos of him admitting.
Is that true, though? Is that true, though? Like, not... Whatever Marks' character is that true that Elias is one of your alters?
No. Elias is a friend of mine. His actual main channel is Tibbz. He's a friend of mine from California. I've had this friend for like 10 years. He doesn't like his voice or his face out there because he knows how trolls are. He's been on the internet.
So I've seen your YouTube account called Kersey. It's a picture of you. Is your friend using a picture of you for his channel?
I don't know, actually. I think it's a picture of somebody from Hollywood Undead, actually. We had that picture for like years, and he likes to use it because it looks cool.
Because he was wearing a Michael Myers mask in that photo, and that, well, I know that you own a Michael Myers mask, and it looked very similar to you.
That's actually the Curls of Hollywood Undead.
Do you know anything about this, Spooky? The Curls?
I think it's a band, that Hollywood Undead band from like the mid 2000s that was big. I don't know if there's any like pedophiles in that. I know it's they did a lot of shows with that Davi Vanity guy with Blood on the Dance Floor, and that's how they rose to popularity. But I am aware of the band Hollywood Undead, so it might be. I think he's saying it's just the vocalist or something from that band and not him. I'm not sure though.
No, I'm saying he has a mask that was imported from Russia. It's a replica, like an identical replica of the Curls mask from Swan Songs. In fact, Kersey's always kind of had that mask as his calling thing, you know, like every time he has anything, it's usually on there.
So he has Hollywood on. It's the guy, but he has a mask from the band, is what you're saying, right?
My friend Kersey, his name is off the record for a lot of reasons. He likes his privacy. But he wears that mask in a lot of his pictures and stuff because he was a big fan of the band at the time. It's actually how I found out, about the band myself. He is his own person. He still lives in California even now. He just wears the mask and all the stuff when it comes to him. Like, he has a YouTube. He just doesn't post on it because he uses it for music, from what I understand. I don't know what else he does with it.
He's the drummer. He's the drummer for Hollywood Undead, right? Is that what you're getting at?
No, I'm talking about Kersey. He just wears the mask of that guy. That's it. The mask is of the drummer from Hollywood Undead, but he's his own person. It's just the mask that's the same.
Okay, is this Domino Kersey?
Just Kersey.
Okay, because on Instagram, there's a Kersey account that, well, looking at it, it's pictures of you. So
yeah.
Again, does your friend just upload pictures of you for some reason?
There should be way more than just pictures of me on there.
Let's see. That's what I'm looking at right now. Drawings, I see you. A bunch more pictures of you. Winter is coming. Going to assume that's a direct reference to Winter the Doll. Long Beach, California, 2020.
We knew each other in that area. What's the name of the actual account? Like, I know that
Domino Kersey. DOMINOKURZZY.
Is that the name, or is that like the?
That is the name of the Instagram account.
Is he connected to Damien Domino? Like, I remember you said you had an alt or something called Damien Domino, and you're telling me a story about him.
Being a domino is an altar. Not a friendly one either, unfortunately.
How many of them are friendly? All the ones that I've seen so far talk about ripping people's throats out of their lungs, shooting people.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we're usually hostile towards pedos and bullies. If they're not a pedo, they're usually not put in the violence category, and bullies, we just put them in their place as much as we can. I mean, how many people from these troll groups have been harassing innocent people because they're mad about what I talk about? Come at me, don't come at innocent people, you know? That's what we call a bully. As for the pedos, well, they all deserve to die. It's just that simple. But unfortunately, there's been a lot more of the pedos and the bullies than anything else these days.
I gotta ask you, what's next after Cyrax? So you're going on this 2-month hiatus for whatever reason tomorrow. Not gonna go into too much detail asking you what's going on. So Cyrax, are you just gonna leave him by himself? Because he considers you his brother. I know that you don't consider that.
Right now, I think the fair way to put it is I don't want to be doing this troll BS forever. I like streaming games. I like to have, I like to stream games and just play them, until they're completed, and then move on to another game. And I like to have that in my life. It's therapeutic for me. It gets me out of the stress factor. Some people smoke weed. Some people watch movies. Some people listen to music. I like video games, right? I don't want to do this troll stuff forever, and that includes Cyrax. I'm going to help as much as I can. If he keeps fucking streaming, I ain't going to fucking help him. That one pisses me off. I'm glad you guys told me about that because I had a strict rule. After the Gordon one, I let that one go because that was like your last chance kind of thing. This one, I don't know if I can keep doing with them because
you might actually like this most recent one because in the first 3 minutes he gave you a shout out.
Of course you did. Like, I tell people that if you want me to help you, you gotta listen to what I tell you. If you want the trolls to leave you alone, you cannot be sitting here on YouTube bitching and complaining. Do your video games. Make your covers if you want. Talking about troll stuff and real life stuff all the time, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And then why am I gonna waste my time? Like that right there, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna have to make that decision, and I'm already telling you right now it's gonna be bad. Because I don't want to keep sitting here and doing this shit. Why waste my time on somebody that does not respect the rules? If you want trolls to leave you alone, you won't get that doing this. And I'm not going to keep debating with you when you're the one who wanted it, And that pisses me off because I would like to be able to help people. When they say that they're a victim and this has been going on for so long, they want some peace and quiet, they want to be able to have a happy life, and this is not true what's going on, hey, I'll dig. I'll dig regardless. But, who would want to waste their time, That pisses me off. And to put my name in there, somehow I'm encouraging them to do it, pisses me off more because, I don't want to be doing this shit either.
It's not just putting your name in it. He says you're his brother. You work on everything with him. I think he said something like you told him what to do while he was streaming.
I told him, ignore those chats, ignore trolls, ignore hate comments. Focus on the content, otherwise I can't help you. It's very adamant about it. I even told him, do not have videos up of you discussing drama. If it's an on-camera stream where you're discussing about drama, you're kind of screwing yourself, and I can't help you. I will not, I'm only doing this because rank material targeted my life, my family, my friends, my home, my cat, because I outed a child predator named April 23, which is a whole other line of bullshit. Now, the only reason I'm helping Cyrax is because what they did to me, they did to him. All the same fucked up shit. I don't know why the hell they'd be helping Chomos, but if these other guys aren't doing that, what the hell is the pattern for,
But you realize that Chance is a Chomo, and you sincerely want to help him. Just to get back at some troll group that I'm not even aware of, you're helping a Chomo.
A lot of conflicting stories about that. But at the same time, I'm starting to think maybe it doesn't matter regardless. If he says he's not a Chomo and there's evidence of that somewhere, right? Let's say it's Akron PD, the registry, all the people in his life, right? Let's just say all his testimonies really do matter.
Crimes go unsolved all the time. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Look at April 23, for example. She got away with it nonstop, and she's not on the registry.
Could Cyrax also be getting away with it nonstop if that's the case?
Yeah, if it's true. Right now,
like I said, you can look up. There are countless documentaries on Cyrax these days. Even if you just browse the first page of his Kiwi Farms article, do you know what that is?
I've heard of it. I know about Kiwi Farms, but I never found an article, mostly because I was on it for like, God, maybe 2 years ago, and it was actually involving something completely different. But if you got that article, I mean, if anything, send it my way, or if Spookies does, because right now, I'm really pissed off about this whole him streaming thing. I'm also going to note here that if he's willing to go behind my back and do that when he thinks I'm on a hiatus, because today was supposed to be a hiatus day, you know, like, then it makes me wonder, what else did he lie about? I know that Kate and N-Word Boy and Goriel threatened me from the literal get-go just for wanting to know their side of the story, which makes me doubt some of the things that they've claimed now as a result. You don't threaten somebody if you're telling the truth. Like, if they're saying these things are real and there's no doubt about it, they shouldn't threaten me with any kind of damage just for asking them for their side. I wanted to know, you know?
Right, Spooky, I just sent you the Kiwi Farms page.
I appreciate that, by the way. But now it's like, maybe I should just throw him to the wolves, because I cannot keep helping him if you're going to keep screwing me, because then it makes me also wonder, if you're willing to do that, are you also willing to manipulate me? You know, to lie to me and spread on the sob story. I care about people. I do. If people are not actually the bad guy, I want to try to know the truth so I can help them. But then there's those things, you know, like, you know, where you kind of start to break those trust based on your patterns, then you start to really lose credibility. And then as a result, you start to find out things about them that you didn't want to know. It's like that, you know. And it pisses me off because I care about people. But why do I want to keep sticking my neck out people if they're playing me, you know? The streaming thing may seem subtle, but it's the beginning pattern usually. It's always something small, and then it builds. Like, I'm going to start digging now. Now I'm going to start pressuring them.
All right, actually, Spooky, could I ask you to send him that Kiwi Farms article? I want to get Tibbs' live reaction on one thing.
I did, and I'm looking at it myself right now. This is probably my third or fourth time viewing this particular article.
Oh, I am on this all the time.
Tibbs, it's right there
I'm
for
open.
you.
All right, Tibbs, would you? No, never mind. Actually.
Sorry.
Okay, actually, back to you though. Okay, so I heard a rumor that you walk Winter outside around like 6 a.m. in the morning. Is that true?
No, that's ridiculous. Winter's usually inside, laying down, watching TV. I don't go by the house unless I'm moving places or whatever.
On that subject, my good friend the Cow Wrangler wants to know when your last date with her was, or when your last night with her was. I don't know how to word that exactly. I don't know if they're asking about sex or when the last time y'all watched a movie or something was. Probably both, so just throwing it out.
We're watching Jim Jeffries' This Is Me Now on Netflix. Like, we were watching it, as you guys called. We're about like 40 minutes in. It's pretty damn good, actually. Didn't know who he was.
Back to talking about Winter though. So I'm going to assume you got her before you moved into this current motel, right?
Yes.
So you don't have a car. How do you transport her? Like, do you put her in the back seat of a car? Do you take her apart?
No, she stays whole. It wouldn't work if you took her apart.
Do you like put her over your shoulder and just walk around?
No, she's got a wheelchair, if anything.
Okay. I definitely played with those when I was a kid.
Okay.
Alright, so Tibbz, you've been streaming since 2016, correct?
May 10th, 2016, yeah.
Okay, so I gotta ask, how you've not grown? Because you stream a lot. Like, how are you at the same level as you were back then when you started out?
Hello?
Did you lose us?
For a millisecond, yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
We're back.
So yes, my question is, like, how have you not grown after all this time of streaming and working on it?
Well, when I stream and I don't go back to it. When I was doing that first channel, it was a lot of really low-end videos, and I knew that because for me, it's just a casual thing. For me, it's not about growth. I don't really care about monetizing it. I don't care about, growing it per se. It's for me, streaming is therapeutic. The world is a very dark and gritty and morbid place at times. When I stream, I play these games, and I always play open world ones because it gives me a chance to, how's it going, Fallout 4, live another life. And I kind of do that because it gives me a chance to step away from the world we live in and do something else, It's a therapeutic thing. I've been through a lot of really effed up shit in my life, and that's why I haven't grown though. Because after I'm done streaming, that's it. I might slap on a thumbnail. I might put on a title. Only this last, like, what was it? Maybe not January. Maybe September of 21, maybe October of 21, did it really start trying to make it a real thing. Before that, I mean, it just didn't really mean as much. I mean, I did find out how to grow through the algorithm pretty quickly. I mean, 3 channels, 2 which I terminate myself. I mean, you start taking notes and seeing what things work and what things don't. Like, live streaming works. You want to play games that kick it, like, you know, that are popular. Like GT Online on my last channel was like insane growth. Like 300 subs in like 6 months, you know? But then you also want to know, like, there are certain things that help, like live chats, blow up things. I mean, you don't need to be covering drama and stuff. Like, I just played GTA. It's always more fun to watch when you have more people with you. Like, I took notes on this stuff, but I only really cared about it, like, maybe in the last maybe 2.5 years. Before that, I just didn't really take it seriously as a content creator thing. It's more like a therapeutic thing.
Okay. Okay, so this is more more information that I'd like than I'd say involves you. But have you given anything to Cyrax that's like money related? Because I know you guys have played Fortnite. Have you gifted him a skin? Because he just lost his Epic account. Have you bought him V-Bucks?
I did give him $20 for GTA. It's the only thing I've done.
Why? Like, what benefited you by giving him $20? Because like we said before, you don't have much money. Cyrax doesn't have to worry about a roof over his head, any food going in his mouth.
Well, sometimes I like to, what's the way to put it? When I'm investigating a situation, there's a few ways you can earn someone's trust. Now, I know that Cyrax is on edge. Everyone around him hates him. For the most part, there is certain exceptions to that rule, obviously. If you want to try and get close to somebody that is basically surrounded in controversy, where you want to know what the story is. Remember, I hate pedophiles. Can't fucking stand them. If I could shoot them all right now, I would. But if you want to get in their head and get around their insecurity, you have to buy their trust, so to speak. And for me, that's kind of what it is. It's $20. It could also be one less pedo later on. It's long-term investment. But also, let's say that he turns out not to be those things and he actually is an innocent person. Then I'm just helping somebody out in a bad moment. If he does fuck me over, it's also a good reason to take that back from at some point. I mean, I have his email login. It's not like a big loss to me for $20. I don't really like money.
Now, I gotta ask you a really important one, I think. So, yeah. I'm sure you're familiar with the name Piper Pollywog?
Yes, that came up recently. I don't know who she is personally, but I know about her account. I know what she's like on Discord. And I know what she's like on YouTube as a person.
Now, so correct me when I'm wrong on this. So Piper put up a poll on her YouTube, and your name was in that poll. You have Google Alerts set on to Tibbz TV, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so you saw that. You went on Piper's channel, saw the poll. She had another post that linked to a Discord. You joined that Discord to try and ask a couple of questions. You spoke for around 3 hours. Then you got put in, what was it called, the Tibbz house?
Oh yeah, they put me in a separate server where everybody just constantly made fun of me and berated me. I just want to make
sure that everything I just said is correct, right?
From what I understand, yeah.
So last night or the night before, on your stream, you actually said that Piper invited you into the server.
Trying to remember. It was like, what was that, last night? She had a bunch of things on her things, a post on her community tab, and she was mentioning on them that she had so many questions, and she had like several posted on me. Now that didn't bother me, but I figured, okay, this person is a Cyrax troll community member for what it looks like. People surrounding her are definitely from that community. And when someone says they want to ask you questions, now maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but maybe that's why I would go in there and say, hey, I heard you want to ask me questions. I mean, this is a way to reach out if anything, et cetera. There's plenty of people in there, too. She wasn't the only one. And we did talk for a good bit. I mean, she was pretty open about, her love of God, et cetera. And then that's all fine stuff and dandy. It was the other people that made it a problem. Like,
But again, so what my question was, you said that you were invited in there. Maybe, yeah, you heard her saying that, but she only said that in the community post, correct?
yeah. I mean, like I said, maybe I'm old-fashioned. I mean, if she wants to interview someone privately or ask them questions or whatever, although, again, it's not only private, it's Discord. There's, like, many people in there. I mean...
No, that's not true, because at the time, there were only 6 people when I joined. And at that time, it was after you had come and Piper made a community post.
6 people?
Yes, there were 6 people in that Discord server when I joined it, after Piper had made a community post that you were saying that you were there. And
so
that
you
was hours later.
Time I was, then, for that matter.
Also, okay, the next one I wanted to ask you. So,
Just trying to help her out with her questions, that's all. I was just trying to help her out with her questions, that's all. I mean, I don't know. I'm not used to reaching out to people. I don't know what people expect or want. Like with Spookies, it's always pretty, straightforward. You just contact me on Messenger. But with the Cyrax trolls, you have to remember a lot of death threats, a lot, etc. And if someone wants to ask me questions, I got to figure out a healthy way to do that. And it wasn't a Discord. She said, anyone want to join my Discord, pretty much. I mean, I'm ballparking because I don't remember what that post exactly said. And like, in my head, just trying to be like, okay, she has questions. This might be a healthy way to do that, Like I said, it wasn't a hostile situation until much later on, of course. But, I was just trying to be informative.
All right, moving on from Piper, I want to ask you a question about your moderators on your YouTube channel. Now, I think you probably know what I'm going to ask.
Yep, I have a good idea.
So, okay, you had one moderator that his parents were contacted because he was 9 years old.
Yes, from what I understand. I mean, I don't know the whole story behind what was said and done because apparently trolls like to fake this shit sometimes, but they also like to take it way farther than actually is going on. When I made everybody moderators, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know how old they were. I didn't ask because really, if you're all in here watching stuff and April 22 is coming here under 300 alt accounts trying to harass all my chats, okay, who wants to be a moderator and just keep this?
So I saw that guy's that kid's profile picture. Like, you could tell it was a small child.
Well, I mean,
I know. I've looked at more chats than anyone. I do premieres all the time, but when you look at somebody's profile picture, you can see what it is. I know that you're 36. Your eyes are bad.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm done. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So, when people look at profile pictures, that doesn't really tell us much because lots of people have pictures of their kids on Facebook as profile pictures on Facebook. Same with Instagram. I would assume, based off that logic, same as YouTube. If someone directly tells me I'm 9 years old, okay, we know that you're a 9-year-old. If someone just has a profile picture, I can't just assume. That wouldn't be fair. A lot of people have kids who still like to be, as adults, watch, gaming content. A lot of adult gamers out there who have families of their own. And so I'm sitting here just saying, if anyone wants to be a moderator and just keep the chats clean, let me know. And all these people were down to it. Now, there was a 16-year-old. There was that one. When I found out about that one and actually found out how old they were, I banned them immediately. That has not been changed since. Like, they have never been allowed.
That 16-year-old, wasn't he actually 15 and he was a moderator on your channel since he was 13? Or was he just watching since he was 13?
I have no idea. All I know is I made everybody mods, and I found out about these ages after that when trolls started attacking them and confronting them about their ages and shit. Like, the trolls wanted to make this about sexualizing kids for some reason. Me, I wanted clean chats because we're a gaming channel. I play games solo just to play games and entertain people. The live chat because I believe that people should be allowed to come in and say hi if they want to, and it does grow channels at that point. Like I said, in the last 2.5 years-ish, been trying to do that. And April 23, disgusting human being tried to ruin that. Like, my goal was simply saying, if anyone wants to help me clean the chat so we can try to enjoy the game, what I'm doing on screen is, I guess, the point, right? Then, you're down. At the time, I didn't ask anybody's age because I wasn't thinking like these people do. I'm not thinking like Pervo. I just want people to say, hey, I'm willing to clean it up. And if you clean it up and you do a good job and you're not being a sicko or a deviant or doxing people, we're all good. Only the last couple of years it become really hostile because when April showed up, then it became Rank Material, and that's Rank Material, these guys. These guys, it's probably my own fault, but, like, still, Either
I
skill.
think we can both agree that a lot of the new people that you're talking to, if you had never spoken to Cyrax, wouldn't be involved. But actually, I want to talk to you about another name you're probably familiar with. I'd like to talk to you about Dilf the MILF Inspector and how he was one of your moderators.
Oh yeah, that's a golden moment by all means.
So I listened to this live. So he came in, said that you didn't know his age. Now, so you said you sound like an adult. So you didn't know he was an adult until you heard his voice in that call. And so you started saying that his alleged issue was that you let an adult be a moderator.
Well, I don't know what his problem was. I'm sitting there like, he's like, when he's in the chat, he's like, hey man, you want me to keep your chats clean? I'm like, yeah, sure, like you can moderate, because if you're offering to do that, I mean, at this point, I don't actually care about who people are. I don't want to know any of my viewers. I don't want to know anybody. I like my privacy. I like my isolation. It's a long story. It has to revolve around trauma I've experienced. I like to be alone. That's why I have Winter. That's why I live alone. That's why I prefer that, right? I don't want to know anybody. I don't give a shit what people's race is or what their gender is or how old they are or where the hell they live. I don't care about any of that. So he comes on and wants to be a moderator. I'm like, all right, fine. That's cool. Because that's the same old song and dance we've always had. And the way he presented himself in the chat, you can tell he's got a little bit more of a brain than, let's say, someone who's younger. And,
Now, I knew that this was going to be a rare opportunity, so I asked a couple of people if they had any questions as well. What's about your process of gaining someone's trust?
Well, number one, you can't, you mean like from beginning to end, or like the things I look out for to break it?
This just asked, like, have you given people money before to gain their trust?
No, that's usually where involving like, okay, so Cyrax is a special situation considering how many people have targeted him online, and because I am online, you have to try and use, what the hell is that thing? Oh, it's a Yoda. All right. It's sunny in the background. I just didn't know what the hell it was at the moment. It scared the shit out of me. Because he's a special situation, it's an exception to the rule. You kind of have to use different tactics than the usual. For me, I don't like people who lie to me. If I can tell you're lying to me from the get-go, and usually it's not hard to backtrack a little bit, right? At least a little bit. That could be a really big problem, especially with trust. I don't like to meet people. I don't. I like my privacy. But if someone's starting to say, hey, let's meet this and that, and they start getting weird about it, usually there's a problem there. If I look into it, there's something sinister, game over, I mean, I don't tell people yes anyway because, again, I'm a very quiet, private person. It's just my thing, right? When it comes to the process of gaining trust, I talk to people. Like, I like to talk to people, get to know them. But you didn't
talk to any of your moderators before you let them in.
That's like because I don't really want to get to know them. If they're saying they're willing to clean up the chat, then I have a process there. If you unhide anybody who's been hidden, you're out. You're banned from the channel. You don't get unbanned.
Now, are you going to be adding any more? Because Cyrax is one of your moderators, and from what I've been told, he's been going pretty ban happy.
Yeah, I noticed that in the last stream. It pissed me off. Like, we had this one guy called Saturn1 who is admitted to being a pedophile, which is already what pissed me off on that whole thing. But then we have people actually, like, I think it was Kip or something else. I forgot. There's a few people in there. And he banned him. I'm over here like, the fuck? We're all having a civil conversation. What the fuck's going on with you, man? I didn't need to say it on the stream. I told him after the fact. But, like, I tell people, if they're not being trolls, if they're being decent or just being decent with their questioning, like, people are going to ask me questions. I'm an open book. But if you're going to start just throwing people out because you don't like them, that puts strain on the community. It's about community if we're going to do this at all. If you're going to come in here and you're going to ban somebody, ban them because they're doxing addresses and phone numbers, or because they're using slurs, or if they're sitting here berating people and calling everybody names because they don't like what they're hearing, or acting super toxic. There's a limit.
Okay, so one really important thing I want to ask. So when you were on the Mass Troll Mafia stream, they had shown off some texts that you had allegedly sent someone. What was her name? Actually, no, never mind. I'm not going to say her name. You know who I'm talking about.
She's not exactly a good person. We do know one of two people who sent them, but it wasn't me.
So
that
you
was...
had said on that stream that was your account. And then once those messages were read out, you said,
No.
what was it? That wasn't you.
I said that the Instagram was my account, but the Instagram only had a picture. See, this was either Brandy or Braden. Two people that have definitely suffered from stupid things in their life, like addiction, etc. Brandy, I stopped paying her money because I didn't live with her. What the hell was the point, right? And she was going through cocaine withdrawals and decided to act like a nut job. She also robbed a bunch of people and stabbed a bunch of people in the back. So obviously the fact could be there that she could have been her. The other guy got into a fight with a girl that was supposedly mentioned in those messages, and I don't really know what happened, but from what I understand, she was pissed at him because supposedly he's the one who made them and sent them. Whoever did this took a picture off my Instagram, made a Facebook, then faked these messages, and then put the whole family
Why would they do that?
Defamation.
But why would they hate you so much to do that?
Amanda has psychotic disorder. I don't care about her name. As long as we use her first name, it's not breaching privacy. If everybody knows her name at this point. Amanda had psychotic disorder and was mad at anyone who tried to help her family. Like, she wanted to kill her family. She even lit her mother on fire when she was 9. Or was it 5? It was one of the two. Which is complete psychotic behavior. She's also slandered every single person who moved into the house that was a male, because apparently even her own father had this accusation. Normally CPS would show up, and I experienced this firsthand because she even did it to me. CPS would show up, and she'd be out there screaming about how she lied, and everybody fucking bought into it, and they're all fucking retarded, which is not good, because then it makes her look psychotic, and it's because she is. But it also puts strain on everybody else around her, because then are we all safe from this person? It's like living with female Michael Myers, pretty much. The other person...
Sorry, back to that stream, though. So you were, or at least whoever it was on stream, claimed to be Johnny Veras. The moment those texts brought up, the mask came off. It was kind of like you came to.
Well, that's because my hatred for Amanda is pretty deep. I mean, she has bashed me in the face with cans of beans. She's also destroyed half my room. You saw those pictures firsthand. That's one of the people who had the biggest hand in that. She also violated most of my belongings. She also threw most of my stuff in the trash. That girl is pure fucking evil. And every time her name gets brought up, every time I see something that she has done, it brings out a part of me that I just cannot fucking stand. Hate, pretty much, would be the simple word. Because I lived with that family. I made sure they had food, power, everything. And every time I see them do something like that, yeah, it brings me back to my personal self. Because my personal self is enshrouded by pain by those same people. That's why I have alters. People have hurt me way too much in life that really should have been the closest people I had to me in life. I helped way too many people that didn't deserve it. Cyrax, let's say he's one of those people. Just a long list of people, and he's just one of them. But that's why. Because when you see something like that, and you know these people will use that to destroy your life anyway even further, it's almost you just have to accept who you are. Find yourself getting back to the original you, because then you just want to become a bomb. You know? Let it all out. For some reason, I sat
that's
there.
a little dangerous talk, don't you think?
Everybody
especially for someone who's, like I said, you pulled out, what was it, that 12-inch knife and said, what was it you said? It was something like,
but she was a chum.
You made it out like you were going to, what's the word, where you cut up a chicken, Spooky.
I remember what you're talking about. It was a while back. I still have the video myself. It's not up until I can edit out the profanity. But the person I was talking to was either about April, who was a child molester who stalked me for 2 years, only stopped within the last maybe 6 months, or it was the rapist who's dead. I don't feel bad for either one.
You
but
told
remember,
me in a personal call, I did not record this, but this is one of the reasons you got on my radar in the first place, other than the 911 calls raving about pedophilia. You told me in a private call that if you could get it was some woman you were talking about, but if you could get her alone in your room, you were still at the halfway house or whatever that was, and you would tear her apart, play with body parts for weeks until they started stinking and rotting and all this really vulgar, really disgusting things. It made me fear for any woman that would be alone with you. That's what Audentum's referring to. I don't know if you were playing an alt or if that was actually how you feel, but that is what disturbed me the most about you.
I've never said that, though. I would remember that.
Well, would one of your alts have said it, and you
No.
just wouldn't remember?
No, none of them dabble in that kind of sick degeneracy.
You may have been talking about the April lady or
Oh, I've been pretty straightforward about April.
Donna or Brandy or something, or I don't know. But you said
okay,
you
let me
would.
go down the list. Maybe we can all figure it out. So with the rapist, I said that I would stick the knife through her crotch, up through her sternum, and hollow the fucking bitch out because she's a rapist. That's what she deserved and what she did to me. It's rape because there was penetration. I don't need to go into detail. Then there was April, who would not leave me the fuck alone after telling me that she was a child molester. Like, I don't want to be hearing about that shit. That's why I'd rave about it. Like, I'm so fucking sick of it, right? Which was the mentality. I have said how I wanted to shoot her in the face, how I wanted to slit her throat, anything to make her fucking stop. Mind you, after mental breakdowns, after constant harassment for weeks and even months. Let's see, who else? Brandy, considering she literally did some really fucked up shit, including robbing me. Smack on the forehead, knock her ass out for life, because that would do it. She's got this big ass plate in her forehead. Who else? That's it as far as violence. I mean, I can't think of anything else. I mean, and considering the situation, most of them deserve it. Brandy, I don't know. Maybe I was just being stupid, but like the other two definitely deserve it. Considering they're sexual offenders, I mean, I don't think anyone could disagree with that. But most of the violence I've had towards people usually stems from one of those two things. Ranked material helped April do a lot what she did, so anything said towards them is also in some way along the same lines. And
If I may change the subject, I just saw in chat, I had no idea who this person is. I'm pretty sure it's the lady that you attacked her kids that night. Right after you went after brought my child that has nothing to do with this internet shit up. The very next night after I left you and Cyrax alone, you went after I think it's the Southern Harlot 3.0. That's the Kate lady.
Yeah, Southern Harlot was on the stream. She wasn't the host.
I have no gripes with them. I don't know if they like me, dislike me. I don't really care. I do my own thing. But what you did there, really, what you did there was stick a knife in my back and let the Green County fuck me over in the butt. No, for real, that was, why did you go straight after her losing her kid? That's a very hurtful thing to do. I know she hurt your feelings, but you should never bring children into this shit. Never.
Well, I wasn't bringing children into it. I was looking at the long history that she had behind her. Remember, this was never about Cyrax. This is about troll credibility. If they're going to come at me and threaten me nonstop, I want to know why. So I looked into her history. I don't have a history for Glory Hole. I don't have a history for Marty. Nothing to show who they were before they were online. Only her. When you look at her history, it ain't great. This is a person.
You realize that's a pedophile. A pedophile put all that out on her because she attacked that pedophile. I
don't care about what Turtle Boy said. I care about the legal documentation that came with it.
The turtle guy is a pedophile, though.
Okay, let me explain this, okay? Because I'm trying to word it right so everybody understands what I'm trying to say. I don't give a flying fuck about Turtle Boy's director's commentary in between. The legal documentations were not by Turtle Boy. Those were things he shared in that thing, yes, but they were done by legal authorities. So you have children's services, you have police reports.
Let's not talk about our kids. I do not want to talk about anybody's kids right now.
In general, if we're talking about K. Peter, that was the reports that I covered. There was things about child services, things about domestic violence, all kinds of arrests, everything else. I covered all that because it was all there. It was only the part 4 of it all. I was going to do more, but I felt like maybe that was enough to say that not a person I can trust with credibility, nor do I want to hear her side considering she's one of the people who attacked me before I ever came at her, on her stream.
Did you look at the stuff that she put out about the turtle guy, though? Because he is a confirmed pedophile as well.
That's why I don't look at his commentary. I look at the legal documentation.
Like Cyrax is a pedophile. Turtle Guy's a pedophile. They may not be convicted.
The Turtle Boy's a piece of shit. My point is, if you're going to go off somebody and their history, look at the legal record. And because those paperwork included legal records, it's the legal records that I cared about. Because that tells me about her history, who she is, why she's the way she is. I mean, I'm going to say it straight up. It sucks that she went through all that. It sucks that her kids had to endure her being like that. But the goal wasn't to attack her kids. The goal is to criticize her as a person.
She is saying that those legal documents were forged. That's what she's saying right now to me. That they were forged.
Well, you know what? She's lied to me nonstop. She's lied to a lot of people. If they're forged, why would they forge all that?
a personal vendetta of being uncovered as a pedophile. They have a personal vendetta, like you have a personal vendetta against the rank whatever guys that I'm not even aware of, really. It's
Well, here's what I can do. To be fair, all those things come with report numbers, so I can look them up in the respective states, verify if they're real, and if they're not, or if there's no record publicly, then I can retract it with an apology, right? If they are out there, and I would be able to find them and confirm them, I'm sure that you can find this online, then I could just post those with that video and leave it as is. To be fair, that would be both sides, win or not, you know what I mean? I do believe in being fair about it. As for what I said about you were drunk as shit the night doing the same insulting shit towards me, calling me all kinds of names, including a pedophile. So I figured I'd just do the same back to you.
No. I called you a pedophile supporter because you were supporting Cyrex, who is a known pedophile. Legal documentation doesn't mean shit. On paper, I'm a common criminal.
By the way, you were pretty damn drunk, and I was pretty fucking high. We were both being stupid, and that's why I came back later and said, hey, man.
On paper, I'm a common criminal, but I have committed crimes that will never be noted. Okay? I will never do time for some of the things I've done. But on paper, I'm just a common criminal. I've never done some of these things that I've done. Does that mean I've never done them?
By the way, just so it's out there, Spookies, because this is one thing definitely makes it a big deal. When I called you that name, I asked you earlier that night if you were streaming for a reason. You said you weren't. That's why when I said it, it was an insult, not slander. There was no one else there but me and you.
I'm not saying it's slander or an insult. Either way, why do you go straight for their children? That's sick, Tibbz.
No, I went towards you. When I call you a pedo who touches your kids as an insult, you're calling me a pedo.
That's not an insult. That's an accusation.
Yeah, an accusation going straight towards children. You did the same to the southern
lady
here.
You. I don't accuse your kids if you're the one supposedly doing it. Mind you, I did it to you because you did it to me nonstop.
You bring up children, though. Why bring up children at all? The children have nothing to do with this
you
stuff.
did that, Spookies, but look at the logic, okay? I'm not trying to be mean, okay? I'm trying to love with you. So you're someone I've always considered a friend, even though we had that really bad encounter that night. You're calling me a pedo.
Support.
And that's what you said. I was there, Spookies. I was there. I witnessed it myself.
I definitely called Cyrex a pedophile if you thought that was directed towards you.
You were drunk as shit. I was high as shit, okay? It's there. So maybe I'm not remembering it quite well. Remember, when I'm high, I don't think clearly. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But from what I remember, I called you a pedo because you called me a pedo. And I figured that was fair. Because either way, if you say that me calling you a pedo means I'm targeting your kids, well, that means you're doing the same thing to anyone I'm around. And I don't have kids around me, mind you. That's the difference. So maybe it was uncool. Maybe it was unfair. At the end of the day, I didn't know people were watching because you told me you weren't streaming, which is why I wouldn't have said it otherwise. Believe it or not, man, even though I had a really bad night, I was insulting you, and that's what I saw it as.
Are you willing to take that back? Are you willing to take that back and also take back the thing against the...
I do take it back because I know you're not. I think that at times you're an asshole when you're drunk.
What about the southern lady, though? Let's just say that legal documentation isn't real.
Well, if it's not real,
calling
then
her a terrible mother, that's really mean. That's really mean, Tibbz.
Look, I have to make sure they're not real. I'm not going to sit here and say the facts aren't real when they potentially could be. I want to go look first. Like I said, I'm on a hiatus pretty much. This is making an exception rule because I respect you, Spookies, and that's what I'm saying. You're not a pedo. I said that as an insult. I thought it was private. I didn't really think anyone was watching. Next time, be honest that you're streaming, so I know not to say it if it means an insult like that. But you're not a pedo. I respect you. I think when you're drunk, you're an asshole. That's why I don't really like being around you when you're drunk.
That's
but at
fine.
the same time,
I don't really care about the opinion on that. I'm asking about the southern lady.
Tonight. So I'll go on there sometime very soon. Okay, I'm not gonna wait on it I'm not gonna go dilly dally. All right, I'm gonna go find it. And if I don't find it, I'll retract it. Right now, I don't think the video's up anyway. But if it is out there, you understand that I have to stand by the facts. That's how we get things done. Okay? Not try to be mean, not trying to say I'm going to treat her like shit. Hey, if Kate wants to actually talk at some point after my hiatus and, set the record straight.
What I'm saying is say whatever you want about her, just don't bring up the children, man. Kids have... You're talking to Cyrex. Okay? Cyrex, you don't bring kids around Cyrex. Never once has Chance, as we call him, has he actually seen my child. Never once. you don't bring kids. You have Cyrex as a mod in your chats, right? And you have the JCap guy and the other one that's a minor. That's why Mr. Dilf Inspector was so angry that you didn't even check his age, that he could have been another kid you were exposing Cyrex
That's why I
to.
didn't understand. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but he sounded like an adult from how he was texting. And mind you, he was an adult when he revealed himself later on. That means I made the right call because I'm trying to pay attention when I do these things. I'm not going to ask every single person in every single chat who they are, how old they are, etc.
But you do have to have a vetting process for something about that, especially with something as serious as defending Cyrex.
So a vetting process. I need to make sure I understand how this works so I know how to do that later on when I do, if I haven't done it already. A vetting process is basically a way to wean people out or make sure people are proper for the job, I guess.
Yeah, like that JCap guy. Why is he still there? If you're trying
to... so we do actually have a vetting process then. The vetting process is pretty simple. If you want to be a mod, you can be a mod. But the sec you unhide people or act, if you break the rules on your own, like if a moderator were to dox, drop phone numbers, addresses, and start acting like a complete piece of shit, then we have to remove them as moderator because they've lost the respect to the job. Like I said, I don't want to know who anyone is. It's not what I want. Okay, I have no interest in knowing anybody. To know any information about anybody, not only because the trolls puts them in a hot seat, but it also can create problems for everyone combined. Like, trolls will target anybody the second they find out the littlest details. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people doing that right now, and it's wrong, right? If you don't tell me anything and you do your job respectfully, which is simply keep the toxicity out of my chats. I don't want no doxing, phone numbers, no addresses, no slurs of any kind. You follow the simple rules, we're good. If you break them, that's our vetting process. It's simple, it's stupid, but we don't...
Why can't one of your rules just be 18?
They are. The entire channel is meant for adults. It's 18 and older. I cannot actually I cannot make that rule stand on a general level because you can't stop people from tuning in regardless. Like, you tell people that the channel is meant for adults, you're still going to be able tuning in or even just watching. You'll never even know with some of them. And right now, if we're going to have people talking about pedos nonstop from the troll side of things, nonstop, mind you, we have to have people willing to remove that. There are a lot of people in the chats, a lot of our moderators, most of which I'm going to note here because I'm not going to include Cyrex. In fact, I might remove him as a result because some of the shit that he was doing today. But almost all of them are very open to keeping those chats clean and keeping that stuff out. I mean, the end game goal is pretty simple. I want to go back to playing my games without all this. Because of April, it's there. Once it's gone, it needs to stay gone. But right now, our vetting process is kept simple because I don't need to know who people are. I just need to know how you perform. If you're immature or stupid or a child, mind you, we'll know based on how you respond. You don't need to tell us, you know, because then if you're...
Didn't you blindly believe Cyrex, though, about literally everything he said, especially like when he sent those pictures to Kate?
Well, like I said...
When you were talking with Marty and Gigi, weren't you defending everything that happened? Even Gigi called you out on it.
I don't know who Gigi is. That one doesn't ring a bell. Marty, he says he's never had a problem with me. In fact, we've had nothing but halfway good conversations.
You better watch out. Marty might give you $1,000 when it's all over, Tibbz. He did it for another guy and you.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm confused.
That's a White Bowser reference.
Oh, yeah, I hate White Bowser. He's a piece of shit. See, the reason why I have to go off...
Do you know that Cyrex tried to team up with White Bowser?
What happened? Like,
Cyrex tried to put together his own little Avengers, and White Bowser was one of the people he wanted.
Is that before or after he found out he was a pedo?
This was long after.
Jesus Christ.
He also tried to get Tony and Daniel Larson.
Daniel Larson's scum. I've seen those videos. That man needs to be shot in the face. No shame, actually, on that one. See, the reason why I go off what Cyrex is telling me is because I was trying to talk to trolls. I made the dumb fucking mistake of trying to reach out to N-Word Boy and Scarecrow and a few others, and it was just nothing but threats. It was actually insane. Like, if I can't talk to these people and hear their side, which, by the way, you know, trolls are people, you know, some of them are scum, and there's no doubt about that, but there are some that should be able to at least explain, you know, if you guys are trolls, why can't you just have a conversation, we talk about what's been going on so I can understand and make my decision. I'm an outsider. I'm a complete independent, you know. My goal is not to join the trolls or be a part of the Cyrex Avengers, if you will. My goal is to know what's going on, so I know where these trolls stand, and then I know exactly how to deal with the rest of the problems going forward. Ranked material is my problem. There's a lot of people in there helping predators, and it pisses me the fuck off. Cyrex trolls, they're bullies, right? My goal is just to get away from all that after a point and figure out what the hell's actually going on. If I can't talk to trolls, unfortunately, all I have to go off of, unfortunately, is Cyrex. You're probably the first person, what do I call you? Audentum, I think it is?
Yes.
You're the first person when to have a decent conversation without threats and other stuff, and I really appreciate that. You know, I respect that more than anything, more than you'll ever understand.
I just don't think that screaming over you would really accomplish anything.
I agree. That's probably the biggest problem I've had with a lot of these guys, especially Marks. You know, I'm an open book. I'll tell you whatever the hell you want to know, no matter what it is. It's just the threats, the attacking innocent people, the targeting families. That stuff's got to stop. You know, especially in my life. I can't control what people do to other people, but in my life, that's why I have so little time, because I try to juggle having a healthy mentality, but at the same time trying to figure out how to deal with this, you know? My goal is to figure out what was going on, how I can deal with ranked material once and for all, and move on. You know, I want to go back to my games. That's it. That's all I've wanted.
Oh, well, Spookies, I actually don't have anything else to ask. Tibbz, I'm sorry, but from what I've read, like, I believe just about most of that. You said the same thing here that you say everywhere else, which people could say one thing, but your stories change too often. Spookies, you have any final thoughts?
I have to stand with Audentum. What he's saying in a nice way here is that a lot of that you said tonight, Tibbz, was complete bullshit. You wanted to get Cyrex for clout. I handed him to you. In hindsight, you know, I've had conversations with people that are actually part of that community, and no, I am not part of that community. It was probably a bad idea. Tibbz, you shouldn't have took the leash. I didn't want you to take the leash. I wanted you to be free and play your games, but you took the leash, bud. You should never take the leash. Never touch the shit, bud.
Spookies? Can I ask you this question, Spookies?
Yes.
How come not only are you one of the first people to suggest me doing it, but you're also on record, on messages, mind you, talking about having me help him in the first place?
That's the bait to take the leash, and you took it. You shouldn't have done that.
Well, why would you bait me at all if you were really a sincere person? Remember, my goal is to help people. Why would you at all even suggest that Cyrex needed help?
Your goal was to get numbers on your channel, I thought, is what you told me. And I said, oh, yeah, here's Cyrex will bring a lot of numbers. That's what I said.
You never said that. In fact, those messages show otherwise, and I will share them if need be. But, like...
Go right ahead and share them so they can see a master class in buddy trolldom.
Well, why would you need
Audentum on this. It's all bullshit. Tibbz.
It is, isn't it? I mean, at this point, I mean, obviously you're full of shit from the get-go, but you were one of the first people to suggest it when our problems had nothing to do with Cyrex or his trolls. So what you're saying is you brought this drama to me because whatever. Genius, if you think about it. Because you're right, in a way I did fall for it. I thought that Cyrex was actually needing help because that's what you suggest was going on. Well, now
I told you he was a child predator. I definitely have told you multiple times he was a child predator, and that is
not with those messages. But it's fine. It's whatever. At this point, I wouldn't expect anything less of buddy trolls. I'm not going to take offense to it. I'm still on hiatus. When I get back, maybe I'll respond, maybe I won't, or maybe just drop it entirely, because at this point,
you should
clearly,
drop it entirely. That's the whole point of this tonight, is I want you to drop it entirely.
Well, make up your mind. You don't want me to drop it, you want me to do it. Now you're saying you are a masterclass in buddy trolling, but now you're saying you want me to drop it. You need to make up your mind, Spookies. Like, I respect you as a person, but you need to figure out which one's actually the truth.
Oh, I'm coming clean right now. The mask is off. Throw away your mask, as they say in Persona 5 Royal. I would leave the internet entirely. I mean, this whole month hiatus thing, you should do it. Don't come back.
Thing's not going to change. I'm never going to leave. I will play my games on my streams. I'll do whatever the fuck I want there. But no one. Like, I can drop Cyrex after a point if
you
he's...
should drop him right now.
At this point, Tibbz.
You're already on the radar. You're weird. You're sick. Putting eyes on you was the mission, and mission succeeded. I don't know why you would say that stuff about hurting those women, about the weird
One was
pedophile
was a
obsession.
rapist.
It's
A question, Spookies. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to cut you off. If I'm threatening a pedophile, a confirmed one, mind you, and a rapist, why would you have a problem with me threatening violence against a pedophile and a rapist?
There's no
I think that a
proof
lot
she
of
is
these
a
are just your
pedophile.
delusions, Tibbz.
Of course you don't believe they're a pedophile. Anyone who I say is a monster, no matter what proof I show, you're going to deny it. Well, that says a lot, actually.
The
It's like-
proof is in the pudding, Tibbz, and you are the pudding.
Spooky, I have a thought for you. If Cyrax, let's just use Cyrax as the classic example, right? Audentum, feel free to wait on this too, okay? Because right now, might as well. If Cyrax made a statement, let's just say the Hebephile thing was a real thing, right? Let's say that his bullshit story didn't really check out, and he actually was interested in fucking 16-year-olds as a 25-year-old, right? Or however old he was at the time. He's clearly an adult. He was clearly an adult, right? Ashley Johnson's doing the same thing. First question I have is, doesn't that make them both the same level of sick piece of shit?
I don't think those people even exist, though, Tibbz.
Yeah,
I think it's stuff that
I
you
don't-
made up.
I don't know who these people are.
Okay, I'm aware that people are not going to know who these people are because either A, no one did the minimal research, as they call it, or B, secondary option, no one wants to know because it doesn't fit the story. Both things are possibly an option. Okay, if you don't know who they are and they exist and these things are out there on my channel to this day, you didn't do the research. And that's not me insulting, that's simply a fact. I've fucked up on doing the research. It goes both ways. But the second question, which is to follow up directly to what you said, it's good that you answered that way. If you don't believe they exist, and they do, and they're affecting children that way, and I've proven that they are, can you seriously sit there and say that you're okay with sleeping well at night knowing you let a child molester keep getting away with it?
I'm okay
Because she's
with,
still doing it to this day.
with who?
April 23, Ashley Johnson.
I don't.
And she's out there still preying on kids, like she keeps saying, right? Can you honestly say that you can bitch about what Cyrax does knowing that you know about this one, she's willing to turn a blind eye to that?
I looked into that, and that seems like somebody just trolling you on PlayStation Network, bro. Like, it's not real. None of that's real. Cyrax
How
is
is it
real.
not real
Cyrax is
when it
real.
wasn't on PlayStation Network? This person existed. Both of them. I know. If I give you guys a name, you guys look into it, right? Apparently, if you get most of the name, or if you get certain details that are important, you don't know what you're looking for. I have one name that if you found the root of it, you find all your answers. Unfortunately, it's a victim. She's 18 now, still alive, still lives with this person, which is disgusting, but whatever, now she's 18, I guess it doesn't matter. Giselle Ramirez Alamillo. Ramirez Alamillo is a first and last name kind of combo thing. Like it was done through marriage of the parents, right?
Yeah, it's
Look
all
that
like
person up in Lansing, Michigan, and you might find some pretty nasty things about what April was doing
that's
and
all
how her family.
delusional PlayStation Network.
Yeah, Spookies,
trolling.
I don't think that anything else is going to come out of this call. Like,
I don't
This
think
is
so.
just the same
I feel like I'm
stories.
wasting my time trying to explain things. You guys want to know facts, but you don't want to know, like, you deny that they exist. Like, what's the point
I'll
of
tell you
that?
what, Tibbz, you send all this stuff to me again that I've looked at.
No.
And I'll send it to
Stuff on my
Audentum.
channel, they get it. I mean, I've sent this to you, Spookies, and you're telling me I'm delusional because you don't want to believe it. Why do I even bother? After all, you buddy trolled me. I'll send it to Audentum if he wants to look at it.
Please do, because like it's literally just PlayStation Network buddy trolling, has to do with the Marks guy
Dude,
and the other guy,
are you
and that's
stupid,
all it
Spooky?
is.
I know you're not stupid because it was Instagram. Like, you can't tell the difference between Instagram and PlayStation? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, man?
They
Like, you're so
contacted you
desperate
on
for a fucking
PlayStation Network, and then it moved to Instagram and other socials. It's a classic
It
way to
was
troll.
on
I used to do it to
YouTube.
Chris
Okay,
all
sure.
the time.
Because, you know, I didn't even give a shit, man. It's like beating a dead horse. You're just not going to hear it no matter what I tell you.
beating a dead horse, because I
Yeah,
used to do
so
this
I'm
shit
done
to
with
Chris
the
on
conversation.
PSN all the time.
Do you have anything else you guys want to ask about? Because, like, I'm sick of repeating myself. At this point, that's all it really has been now. I can't keep trying to explain to you what's going on because at this point, no one cares. No wonder she's raping kids and getting away with it. So I'm kind of done here. Can I go back to my show?
Kids, go right ahead.
I don't
I'm tired of talking about kids
You
anyway.
were drunk,
Yeah.
you called me a pedo, I called you a pedo.
Yes,
It's stupidity at this
certainly.
point.
All right. Hey, you have a good night with your sex doll, Tibbz. Good night. I didn't mean to cut Audentum off. We'll call him back real quick and see what his thoughts are on all this. I don't know. I may stream later. I don't know. I doubt it.
Hey, Spooky.
Hey, we're still streaming, by the way. Did you have any final thoughts on this? Because I did not mean to cut you off. I was literally trying to remove him from the call.
Oh shit, sorry, my microphone was off. No, my only final thoughts are really, I think the first half hour was really enough. All he did was lie, say the same things over and over again. You know what, maybe I shouldn't have let him talk as much as I did. I did try to put in my questions when I could.
I think you did good, honestly. He's a whack job. That's all there is to it. You buddy troll a whack job and see what happens, man. He's dangerous. He's not a good guy. Not a good guy at all. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream off. Y'all that are here, I hope you had a good fucking time. Enjoyed the shit show. I hope Audentum got what he needed. If anything he could use.